I wanted to share with you a good question came up from my live broadcast yesterday, which was how do I know that the principles that I'm focused on, that I'm learning, that I'm living are the correct ones? So, Steve, this is to answer your question, and very good question actually, because dictators have values, and like everybody else, we all have a belief system, a set of values that we really are non-negotiable, unalterable, that we really believe in. And however, the true north or the compass of those values. Now, Stephen Covey said this. Let me back up a little bit. Stephen Covey, I love the way he laid it out. He said, your values are like a map, but maps change, because the terrain changes. Have you ever noticed you need to move a map around to find out where you are? And so maps change, terrains change. Maps sort of describe the terrain, the surroundings, the environment, and that can change. But principles are like a compass that never changes. It always faces true north. So dictators of countries can have can have values, but their principles are lacking because they obviously are leading people the wrong way. So what are principles really? Principles are like unwritten laws. They like the sowing and reaping principle. It's like something that you do that has a long-lasting effect. The thing about principles are that you need to understand. Principles are long-term laws that are written within your heart, boundaries that are stated, that are unalterable. They're not laws as written in obligations in a manual. That's practices. But laws are those things that are unalterable. If you want to build a good relationship, you've got to build trust. That's a principle. If you want to have influence, you've got to inspire. And to inspire, you've got to be inspired. That's a principle. To lead effectively, you've got to serve. That's a principle. For greatness, you've got to make other people great. That is a principle. So we need to understand these laws that govern, and you're not going to get them all right. That's why leadership and leadership of your life is all about growth, maturity, continual growing, continual learning, developing, finding the principles in every situation that you find yourself in every circumstance of life, in every aspect of what you're learning, finding the principles and living those principles. Is that, for instance, Jesus washed the disciples' feet. The whole focus, has been made about the foot washing, but the foot washing wasn't the principle. The principle was servanthood. Jesus said, if I am your Lord and Master and prepared to wash your feet, you need to wash one another's feet. And the whole principle there, it was about servanthood. As leaders, we are to serve others. To have a great vision is to empower others. Principles will always not only be long-term, but they will be empowering to others, not about you. A vision that empowers you is ambition, but a vision that empowers others is a true vision that comes out of a true mission. So principles are those deep-seated laws, if you may, that you need to learn, that you need to live, and that begins to govern your behavior, governs your attitudes, your decisions, and your actions. Most leaders, young leaders that I talk to, and other leaders, that want to develop in leadership, most of them want to know, basically, what are the 10 points? What do I need to do to be a great leader? What do I need to do to get more followers? What do I need to do to be more popular? What do I need to do to be more influential? And so, that we're always looking, and if you look online, if you just type in becoming a leader, it's all about the technicalities. It's always about, the 10 rules, et cetera, et cetera. But nobody's dealing with the principle. And the first principle of leadership is your mindset. It's about your attitude, not just beyond attitude. It's a way of thinking. It's a paradigm. It's how you view things. And, that starts with, you cannot lead if you're not leading you. If you're leading just for followers, you're already disqualified as a leader. Leadership starts on the inside. It's about ordering your private will, then you can order your public will. Principle a powerful principle is to be courageous enough to live your values while being considerate of others' values. That's a powerful principle. To respect others' values, is to be courageous for my belief system, courageous for what I stand for, but to respect others, to not impose. But it's amazing is that when you live by an ideology, not by a principle, you will want to impose your values, your belief system on others. You'll want to force them, control them into living what you want. You will impose on them what it is that you believe. And there's no consideration of others' journey, of their adventure, of their story, of how they got to have the values that they got to have. And so we need to have courage with consideration. That is a powerful principle. And so, you can go through these, and if you begin to read, study, if you begin to ponder, if you begin to learn and grow with principles, it's amazing how your whole mindset begins to change and your whole outlook, your approach to people changes. And that's the thing, is that's what you've got to basically, that's what makes a great leader, is the principles. And as I journeyed out of a crisis, the thing that I sat down and looked at was, okay, I can be a victim for all my life. I can always blame others for what went wrong in my life, or I can learn. I can sit down and say, all right, why did they do what they did? How would I do it differently? What is the principle involved here? What lesson needs to be learned that is the principle of how to govern my leadership, how to govern my interactions with others, govern my journey, my adventure, my relationships? What do I need to learn in my leadership that will govern how I move forward, keep moving forward, so that I not outlast, but that I outlast myself, I outlast the failings, the weaknesses, I outlast the gaps and the holes in this whole thing. How can what do I do to move to that place where I can learn those things that govern what I do? Those unwritten laws that will govern how I lead, how I help leaders, how I mentor leaders, how I develop leaders, how I impact upon others, how I can inspire others to be. I want to learn the principles, and it doesn't have to be many. It just has to be a handful, and you can build a whole approach on that. And so that's what I want to share with you, is that, the question was a good question. How do I know it's true? Well, two things. One, it's got longevity to it. And two, it's about others. It'll never be about you. Self-centered insecurities creates dysfunctionality, creates an imposing ideology, creates control, manipulation, and factors like that, rather than courage, consideration, respect, integrity, trust, things that really last and build others, empower others. So that's from Sean's live broadcast today to encourage you.